Friday, December 29th, and the Dome Foamers podcast is back. I'm your host, Christian Kruger, and always joined by Neil Mieski and Brian Dorton. And we're just lifelong Astros fans and college football fans that love to talk about both. So, boys, let's go. All right, episode 34. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. Guys, I know you guys spent time with your family, so I'm glad. I hope, and I know we've talked offline. I know it went well, so it's awesome. We've got Neil in the middle of basketball. We've got Dorton trying to be a cowboy. More on that later.
Trying.
And trying. So, guys, we are going to talk mostly college football, the bowls, the playoffs, a little recap, and then get into I guess it's less than 3 days away.
Yep.
So
done.
First we're going to start with our title sponsor, 2gringoschupacabra.com. Go to 2gringoschupacabra.com and put in Dome 15 still to get your discount for yourself. Stocking stuffers are over.
And you know what? No, it's not too
grill
late.
On.
It's not too late for the slackers.
It's never too late.
Slackers out there.
It's never too late. You have that, the fan favorite that we can send out to you based on our social medias. I know we've talked about this, but really, if you don't do a podcast or are not on YouTube, I don't think you understand, because the three of us did not understand how much liking and subscribing and rate and reviewing helps. It just helps show that there's people that are following along other than viewing and watching the episodes. So please go to YouTube, go wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on all of the platforms. Like and subscribe, and it's free. Hit us a notification. Give us feedback, because we love it and what we can do better on. But boys, thank you to our title sponsor, and go to 2gringoschupacabra.com to get your grilling needs. Here we are, 4 days after Christmas, 3 days before the playoff. I want to start with a little recap. I think Neil said our last podcast was 11 days ago, episode 33. So I think Neil said take Marshall versus UTSA. So a big there. However, he did say take the Southwest Texas State Bobcats.
Southwest.
Versus Rice. So he gets a check there. I messed that up. However,
easy. I can't.
They demolish Rice. Yeah, I know.
And the concession stand.
Somehow SMU doesn't understand that Texas State was coming, and
someone missed a memo there. I guarantee that
90% of the fans were Texas State. And the greatest thing ever was tweeted out at 12 minutes into the second quarter. Texas State has drank the first responders. It was the First Responders Bowl, I think it was.
First Responders Bowl, baby. First Responders
out
Bowl.
Of all of their alcohol. That probably means they showed up 2 hours early and got inside the stadium and drank all of it.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things in bowl season so far. I'm not going to lie.
Atta baby Bobcats. Maybe someone didn't get the memo as to what those teams were, and maybe certain reputations of at least one of those teams.
Yeah, I don't think Rice travels well, and I don't think they care, but Texas State did and drank them out of everything.
They sure did. Atta baby.
That's incredible.
Atta baby San Marcos.
The Methodist
so Neil goes 1-1 there. Dorton, what were your picks?
I don't remember. It's been so long. No one can remember. There's no way to go back and look at those things.
I'm pretty sure I went Oklahoma State and Arizona. which would be check.
Yeah.
I guess we're not going to rehash Jordan's.
Nah, but no one can ever, no one would ever be able to find out. It's impossible to find out. No, I'm
There's
not.
no record of that anyway.
For anyone that wants to know, it's episode 33, which is the episode prior to this one, because this is 34.
I will say this. I will give props in terms of, quote, has James Madison ever seen the option run? And the answer is no, they have not. No, they most certainly have not seen the option.
I think Air Force, I think they have straight up won like 7 straight bowl games.
Yeah.
Really?
They're yeah, I mean, it's some crazy stat out there. They're machine. They're one of the best covers of all time.
Yeah.
And we're not going to spend a lot of time there.
Death taxes, and Air Force covers.
That's right. Dude, I'm telling you. All right, so let's move right into it, and I'm going to start because I want to end with the Sugar Bowl, and then our prediction. So let's start with the Rose Bowl, and Michigan, Alabama. So real quick before we get into thoughts on it, I talked about this offline. Listen to national pundits out there. Hey, if you stop the run, if you win the turnover battle, and you get pressure on the quarterback, you're going to win.
Oh man, that's
Thank you so much for that analysis.
Did you come up with that? Wait? Did you come up with that?
No, I listened to some writer from Albany, New York, and that's just what they said. Yeah,
and that's what they came up.
Brilliant.
That is super insightful. That's pretty awesome.
It is amazing.
Can you repeat that? I may need this in the future.
Yeah.
One more time.
Slower,
because I'm kind of slow. Okay. I'm slow myself.
Stop the run. Win the turnover battle. And get pressure on the quarterback.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Wow. All that stuff.
That's
all that stuff. That stuff moves you over to winning a ball game.
So what they're saying is, if you don't let them score, and you score more than them, there's a good chance you're going to win.
Yep. And if you think about it, if you really think about how dumb we are as a society, there would not be all these guys out there writing this stuff if we didn't all click on it and read it.
I know.
Now, there's people out there saying, we're a part of that.
I'm aware.
The three amigos here.
But I'm not gonna say, hey, Brian, if Alabama gets pressure on JJ McCarthy, they're gonna win. Like, it's just whatever. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox.
No.
So let's start giving thoughts on it. I'm gonna kick it to you, Neil, first. You've got Michigan versus Alabama. The line currently, I looked about an hour ago, was -2 Michigan. A little surprising. I understand opening Michigan as a favorite. I didn't think it would stay there. But in all these bowl games, there's been massive swings with all the opt-outs and everything else. Obviously, there's not opt-outs going on the playoff, but still kind of surprised the line's at -2. But your thoughts, questions, something you want to bring up in regards to the Rose Bowl?
I mean, it's going to be interesting, of course. Michigan being the Big Ten power football, here we go, smash mouth stuff, versus the Alabama SEC spread mentality. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good clash, and if you're asking me for my pick, is that what you want right now?
Not yet.
You want my picks?
No. We'll go to the end.
Okay. No, I think it's more than fair to think Michigan has. I know the line tells a story. I just feel like I don't know. It's going to be a close game. I don't think there's a reason not to think it would be a close game and competitive. So the line being at 2.5 obviously makes sense. clashing of styles.
Yeah. I'm gonna give my take in a minute. Jordan, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, my take really hasn't changed at all since the last time. I think this is going to be a close game. I think that I think it's going to depend on which Milrow shows up, and if the Milrow who showed up against Georgia is there, I think it's going to be Bama hands down. I think if kind of mid to early season Milrow shows up, I think it's going to be a close game. I really do. I don't know if you heard did you hear the whole Bill O'Brien stuff and
one of your favorite guys?
Oh, freaking Bob, man! I'll tell you what, like he hit. I think that kid handled it well. Like if that's really how it went down, if it went, which I have no doubt. I have no doubt that Bill O'Brien told that kid that he sucks and he shouldn't be a quarterback, and that's all you need as a athlete,
as a competitor,
as a competitor at Alabama, to step up. But I think I've there's a good narrative of what's his name? Is it the coordinator Tommy Rees?
Yep.
Rees, yeah. Like kind of finding that groove with Milrow as a quarterback, and you kind of started to see that progression. And I think after kind of looking at that and seeing like that makes sense. Like there's no longer quarterback controversy there. There's no longer any kind of like competition. Like Milrow is the outright quarterback. If he can come out and play, I think Alabama takes it. And that's just my take. I know you're not asking for picks, but those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll do picks at the end, right? I do think majority of whoever, media, national pundits, I do think there's a narrative that everyone's picking Alabama. And I don't disagree with it. I understand the narrative being there because you've got athletes versus the Big Ten. And I get it. However, I do think if you look in a fishbowl of 2023, this Michigan team matches up really well with this Alabama team.
Oh, I'm not taking anything away from Michigan. I think they are a really good team.
But you know what I'm saying though? I mean, everyone reads what they can, looks what they can, watches TV, goes on Twitter. And I get it. I understand because normally you take one of the best teams in the SEC and play them against the Big Ten or other conferences. And I get it. I just don't think this Alabama team, by the way, when Texas beat them, everyone said they were going to go 9-3 or 8-4, and they didn't. So at the same time, you understand this team's pretty good. But I just don't think this team is overly athletic in the terms of being able to athlete you to death. Michigan's built to hit you in the mouth. They're built to run right at you. They're built to take play action. And so if you look at the last 10 years, the easy pick is Alabama. If you look at 2023, it's like they match up actually really well.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is also the same Alabama team and the same Milrow who the Ags took down to the last play on the fourth quarter, and lost by 6, but could have been.
Auburn has them all but beat.
Oh, Auburn has them beat
100%.
Auburn has them beat 2 games ago.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously the swing game in this thing was Georgia, which got them there, but the familiarity between those two programs, I mean, that was a huge advantage in my mind for Alabama to beat them. I mean, just you're talking Saban and Smart. I mean, years worth of competitive, and that balances that out a little bit in the fact of just knowing some tendencies over time and years to where, I mean that on paper, yes, they beat Georgia, which is amazing, but in reality, those two programs they know each other so well that it's really they don't need that much credit for what they did. I mean, yes, it was phenomenal win, but uh, if they didn't win because they out athleted Georgia,
No.
they
Yep.
just again they know each other.
Well,
So
you know how, and Neil, that's a great point. But you know how transfertive property works when you look at it. So Auburn gets housed at home by New Mexico State. Next week should have beat Alabama.
Yeah.
And then Alabama goes and beats Georgia.
College football math, baby. College football
exactly.
math.
Like what? So
1 + 1 is yellow.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's take some of the reporting that's going on, not necessarily about the game, but about Jim Harbaugh. So supposedly sitting on his desk, which I think is ironic not the right word, which I think is interesting that it was leaked by the NFL, an NFL source, is he has a 10-year, $125 million contract sitting on his desk at Michigan that he has not signed yet. What, like, do you think he just wants to be that guy that he wants to move to the NFL, which he's flirted with heavily the last 2 years? We all know we don't need to document everything that's going on around, swirling around. I mean, what? Why is it sitting on the desk? Is he going to the NFL? I ask this one because he's a polarizing topic. Plus, the Horns go to Michigan game number 2 next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thoughts on that whole deal?
Well, Jim Harbaugh is, I mean, he goes to Walmart and buys his khakis. I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's not about money. It's not about ego.
No.
It's about his personal challenge. I mean, he's kind of like the Zach Greinke of baseball, to where
well, real quick, I agree. It's not about money. I don't know if ego might have something to do with it.
I'm not. I could see him walking away and it being done. Like, I mean, I don't think like the ego of him having to coach. I don't personally think that. Who knows? To go back to the NFL for a challenge, perhaps. To go back for
you do know one of the caveats in the contract is you need to stop flirting with the NFL. Like that's been reported.
There it is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's got this hunger to, I don't know, to head back there and finish off there. I just don't. I could see him walking away faster than I could see him desiring the need to fulfill some NFL gig, because we know NFL could punch you in the face in a heartbeat.
I agree with you, but
sure.
he made it to the Super Bowl.
Sure,
so it's not like he wasn't successful.
No,
so let me ask you. Let me ask you this, Neil.
So did Nick Saban was in the NFL. How'd that turn out?
He didn't make the Super Bowl.
That's Harbaugh what I'm saying. Sure, but I'm just saying the fact of just because you go there, it doesn't guarantee. I mean, where's he going to go? What team's he going to go to? That matters. in the fact of, okay, is this a two? I mean, realistically, 2 years it would take you to go to a team and be in the running. But it is, to me, it's just so fickle. Whereas right now he's got a stronghold on his program and win a national championship. How about that?
Okay, let me ask you this.
Well, hold on.
No, go ahead, Jordan.
Sorry, real quick. Ohio State 3-and-out right off the bat. Just FYI, just keep it. The Cotton Bowl for listeners at home. The Cotton Bowl just started.
Backup quarterback and no Marvin Harrison Jr.
Marvin Harrison's on the sidelines.
Oh yeah,
but he's not playing.
He is not playing.
Yeah,
he's there to cheer on his team.
His dad could be on the sidelines, but if he ain't walking on the field, it don't matter.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Neil, a follow up, and Dorton, jump in when you have a take on this. So I get all that, but now transition yourself, Neil, to you're in an NFL GM, okay, and you just fired your coach, Chargers. I mean, I can't keep up with the NFL. Bears. Someone else? I don't know. The Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
Where would Jim Harbaugh land in your list of candidates?
Oh, I'm calling.
Exactly.
At the top. Here's my, and I'll go ahead and I'll put out my lack of knowledge, but what are is he going to make as much money in the NFL as he will at Michigan?
So he's one of those rare individuals that I agree with Neil when he said this. He's made a ton. I don't think money's the issue. I think it's more.
I don't either. I don't think that he's going to make the decision based on money. I'm just curious at this point. Could he make more money in the NFL than
his agent is going to leverage the 10-year, $125 million contract that's sitting on his desk? You know that. I mean, his agent's going to leverage that to the Raiders, the Chargers, and whatever. Black Monday for the NFL comes the day after the regular season, and 3, 4, 5, 6 guys get fired. So, I mean, his agent's going to leverage all that, which they should. So I just wanted to ask Neil this because I agree. I mean, if he's not candidate 1 or 2 on your list because he's been successful in the NFL, he's been successful in college multiple times. It's an interesting dynamic. I didn't want to make this into a Harbaugh podcast, but it's sitting out there. It's sitting out there. Like if I'm the Los Angeles Chargers, he's going to be in LA for the Super Bowl. Pasadena's 25 miles away. Hello. You got to sit down with the guy. Money wise, I just don't.
Yeah. I'd love to see him in Vegas.
I mean, it's a good fit. It's a good fit. Those guys. I mean, in today's world, if you're a successful college coach, which he obviously is, and you go to the NFL, you have just taken away. You don't have to deal with the NIL. You don't have to deal with the recruiting. You don't have to deal with 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds. You don't have to deal with all that comes with it. And you don't have to recruit 24/7. You can go in. You have a GM that you hope to work with to build a roster, and you can have downtime and prepare. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not worried about Sark leaving for a college job. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Alabama's going to call him." Oh, they're going to call him. Sark ain't going to Alabama. No one wants to follow Saban when he retires.
Yeah. Right.
I'm worried about Sark eventually going to NFL.
Yeah, I mean, you see more college guys go to NFL than NFL to college, but unless they're hopping back in, because I don't think there's much debate on the fact of how much harder the college stuff is.
Agreed.
I mean, it's just the time. I mean, it is a 12-month, 365-day a year gig to where you're begging, you're rolling out red carpets and putting on the clown show everything you've got for a recruit to come there to potentially make you successful. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just another challenge for him. Maybe he is fed up with
He
the
did
the
he did
dog and
lose to
pony.
his brother in a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was pretty awesome.
I mean that's
Yeah.
got to stick. That's got to stick.
it's pretty tough at Christmas.
Yeah. All right. Enough about Jim Harbaugh. So let's transition to the Sugar Bowl. So you got Washington versus Texas. You've got the line currently is -4. It opened up at about 4.5. It's gone down a half
Yeah,
point.
it really
So
both of these lines haven't moved as I thought there was going to
well,
be some movement there,
yeah, I agree with you.
just
But part of
based
that
on
is
bets, you know.
part of that's the lack of opt outs.
Well, I know, but like again, it's one of
Money,
those.
yeah.
Yeah, like I think what that tells me is money is pretty equal on both sides. If
Yep.
there's no movement, which is that's pretty crazy.
Yep.
I
Agreed.
agree.
So this game to me, I think you're looking at a lower scoring game in the Rose Bowl, and I think you're looking at a high flying um, a game in the Sugar Bowl. You're in the dome, you're in the Superdome, you're on turf, you're on field turf. You've got two offenses that like to throw, run, high flying, high performance. Um, I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Obviously, I'm biased, but at the same time, I understand what they're up against. I mean, I've looked at all the analytics. Texas favors all advanced analytics almost across the board, with the exception of secondary.
Secondary.
Yep, that's an advantage. Washington's pass offense versus Texas secondary, which makes sense. So, which also makes sense leaning towards points. Um, I will say this: Washington needs to be able to run the ball to help the passing game, and you don't run the ball in Texas. At the same time, Texas also needs to be able to run the ball to be successful, with their passing game. I think it's going to be a fun game. It's the first time that you have four teams that I think can legitimately all say they can win the national championship. I don't think that's always been the case. I think Washington can beat Texas. I think Texas can beat Washington. I think Alabama can beat Michigan, and Michigan beat Alabama, and they can all beat each other. And so what's going to be interesting is, without saying what we said to start with on the stuff that national pundits are saying, I think it's really going to come down to sustaining the punch from the other team, is responding. Because I think there's going to be points in the Sugar Bowl, and it's about, hey, what do you do after the other team just drove down 75 yards, scored? What do you do to respond? And I think that's going to be the interesting thing in this game. But love to hear what you guys think, breaking it down between the two teams.
So my thing goes to when you have high scoring teams that, and of course we're saying it's going to be high scoring, and the Michigan game is going to be low scoring. So
Yeah, and
clearly,
it could be flip flops.
clearly it's going to happen, But going into this deal, the number of chances that you get matter, right? It's the old saying of who has the ball last may win this game. And the number of chances that you get to score are important. So how do you get chances to score? Well, it's to me, it's going to be the turnovers. So in this game, I agree. The secondary is a vital part. Secondary of Texas versus Michigan's pass game, but 1 to 2 turnovers legitimately could be the difference. It's not field position. It's not punting. It's which defense ultimately can create an opportunity for their offense to get on the field and go score. Because I mean, if we're talking about this, 42-35 style game, you need opportunities. You need every chance you can get. So in my mind, this game boils down to, like you said, the secondary and creating opportunities for their offense to go score.
Jordan, thoughts?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is I'm looking forward to seeing what these two quarterbacks step up and do, because I think we might see some. I think we'll see a low scoring game, but I think we will see it driven by two pretty dynamic quarterbacks.
You think it's gonna be a low
And
scoring game in the Sugar Bowl?
I think no, sorry. I think it will be a high scoring game.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of, I think we're going to, and it's going to be driven by these dynamic quarterbacks. I think, I don't know, man. Like, I'm excited to see if both Ewers and Penix show up, man. Like, I think this is going to be it's going to be, it might be one of those like last possession type person with the ball wins the game. But, which I really hope, because that'll be a fun game to watch. So we'll see.
I think,
like, I don't
yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be about, like, are you going for it and scoring touchdowns as opposed to kicking it and kicking field goals? I just don't think. Sure, there's times when you're like, hey, it's 4th and 8 at the 30. Yeah, we need to line up and kick a field goal, right? But situational field goals are just not going to win this, unless it comes down to that.
Right.
It is about getting into the pay dirt. Like let's use the example. Texas goes out and first drive, kicks a field goal, makes it 3-0, and Washington responds at 7-3. That's not good. Like,
right.
I mean, I think there's so much pressure on the offenses to score the 7 points. I think that's really what it. Chasing points is never good. I do think it's going to be wide open. It's going to be fun, man.
Yeah,
like I
I
said,
agree. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch.
I want to say one caveat real quick before we start breaking down some predictions is, I know we don't have many Florida State listeners. The ACC has helped you none. That it. I get it. I understand. We broke it down on podcasts before this and the podcast before that. But Louisville getting blasted by USC with a backup quarterback. NC State getting getting beat by 2 scores by Kansas State. The ACC just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
What?
And I know. It's just like, well, for all those Florida, I mean, because Florida State's like suing the CFB, suing the ACC. I'm like, I understand you want to be out of that.
They're trying to buy out. They're looking at what buyouts cost. Buyouts from the where are they going to go?
12 years from now.
Yeah,
their grant of rights is 2036. Yeah, I know.
And then where to? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, you're right. It's
not a great argument for.
Didn't do a lot of favors. You're right.
No. All right, y'all want to break down? Y'all want to do predictions?
Yeah,
I think let's do predictions for the Rose Bowl, predictions for the Sugar Bowl, and then predictions for the national championship game, and let's see who gets the closest. And we'll put a nice 6-pack on it and see who gets the closest.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Are we giving scores?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. Let's start with Bama, Michigan. Yep. I think Bama wins that game. 28-17. in the 20s. So I'm going to say, God, I don't want to say 20. They've scored 27 in the past 2 games. So let's go 30-23.
All right, let's document this. Bama.
Bama, 30-23.
Okay. All right, Neil.
I have wavered. When we talked about this at the beginning, I picked Alabama, and then I had almost talked myself going into taking Michigan. And right now I'm wavering big time, but I have a hard time going against Nick Saban, so I'll stick with my original Bama. 24-21 Bama.
Okay.
24-21.
And that's, I mean, there's some stuff inside of all that, but I'll spare the details and Nick Saban against the spread and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I know. I've broke
Yeah.
that down.
I mean, it's I'm looking forward to that one a lot. But as far as the Sugar Bowl,
No,
uh,
Hold on. Let Kruger go.
Yeah.
Kruger.
oh, I mean,
Yeah.
oh, we've done that. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So on our college football preview podcast, Dorton was there. We had Eric and Eileen from Inside Texas. Shout out to those guys. I think Dorton did too. I picked Michigan to win it all. Dorton, did you? You remember?
I'm gonna have to go back and look. I probably
Yeah.
picked whoever the national champion is gonna be. That's who I probably
No,
picked.
you didn't. No, because I know you didn't. I know you didn't pick Texas. So there's a lot of me. Neil, you just said this. There's a lot of me. Let's pick Michigan. I think Jim Harbaugh is on a I don't know what you call it, revenge tour. That's not revenge tour. I don't know, man.
It's
he's going
tough.
against it is, and he's going against Saban. And
I
how
know.
does anyone pick against Saban? And you know what Saban's record is in the playoff? This is a stat for everyone's listening. You know what his record is in the playoff? 9-4.
What is it?
Not bad.
Not
That's okay.
Not 2013 or whatever year. His record in the playoff is 9-4. You know what Jim Harbaugh's is? 0-2.
Can't be great. Yeah.
So I was, because of my preseason pick of Michigan winning it all, I wanted to go with Michigan. I saw that stat right there, and I just said, can't do it. And both you guys picked Bama, so I really hate all three of them.
Jump on.
I do. I really do. I hate it.
I'll pick Michigan if I need to, because I mean you could it doesn't take much, but all the reasons you said Alabama is why.
No, you're already locked in, buddy.
I'm in.
You are locked in.
I'm taking Bama 23-20 only because of that record right there.
23-20. Okay.
23-20. I think it's going to be a slobber knocker. As I think it's going to be, tighten up the chin strap. For those out there that have never been to the Rose Bowl, it's the greatest place to watch a game. You should, regardless of who's playing, you should go and see the Rose Bowl game. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. I can tell stories about it because I've been multiple times. The Rose Bowl is incredible. 23-20 Bama. And I wanted to pick Michigan, but when I saw those stats, I'm like, nope, can't do it. So that moves us to the Sugar Bowl. Inside the dome, in the Superdome, Texas versus Washington. So I started with Dorton, so I'm going to let Neil go first on this one. Give me a score, give me a take, give me what your thoughts are, and what it'll come down to for the Sugar Bowl semifinal in the CFP.
And we're by the way, I just want to clarify, we're doing this straight up winners, no spreads, right?
No, we're doing
No, just give the
we're doing
score. Give us a
yeah,
score.
we're doing score predictions.
Give the score.
Yeah. And we're saying
Yeah.
the winner.
Yep.
I am saying Texas. Who score wise,
I'm writing all these down, by the way.
yeah, you need to. 33-31 Texas.
33-31.
All right. Anything else? Any thoughts on that? Just or you're going with that, and you're.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the history of Washington. The history of Sarkisian and for the numbers and what the number, I mean, what the over under is, just trying to get close to that. And again, when you hear Texas and you hear Washington, your immediate thoughts are big numbers, but there's also some stuff out there suggesting that it may not be, especially since we all have already said this is going to be a high scoring affair, which we're the kiss of death on that. So you can expect your.
Well, I want you to know, Neil, about an hour ago before we started the pod, I thought I saw the over and under at 64.5.
64. I thought it was right at 64. Yeah. Or
well,
63.
Yeah.
Neil's number is 64.
Yeah.
64. Yeah.
I knew it was.
Come on, man. Come on now. Get you one more either way. Get you over that hump.
No, put me at 33-30 then. What is it? Right, yeah, 33-30.
No, I got you at 33-31.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't care. It's going to be right there.
Anything else before I move on to Dorton?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, Dorton.
So first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and pound the over here. I think so. I think I'm going to pound the over, which means it's going to be a 10-7 game. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I felt good about the over until you just said pound it. Now it's going to be 13-10.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You just got a 20 total game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a high scoring shootout. I think it's going to be, let's call it, it's going to be something in the neighborhood of 40. I'll go 40 to even 32, 40 to 32 Washington. And I think the difference here is going to be the Washington receivers, the Texas defensive backs. I think that we're going to see basically the receivers are just going to outlast. I think that's where we're at. I think we're going to, I mean, there's no question if Washington tries to establish a run game, it is going to be absolutely dominated. So I think it's going to have to be Texas is going to have to stack the defensive backfield, and Washington's those receivers are just going to have to step up. We're going to see what happens. Those are my thoughts.
Well, I didn't expect you. I flipped the hat around for those that are watching on YouTube.
You bet.
I didn't expect you to pick Texas. We had to be.
You think I'm going
to be?
You think I'll pick Texas to go to the national championship? No, I won't. I think it'll be a close game. What did I say? 40 to 32?
30.
Yeah.
All right. 40 to 32.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I totally understand because Washington very well could win. So, do you expect me to pick Washington?
I think we can move on to the national championship. Actually, just get a score in there and let's move on.
I do think the Washington receivers are going to do well. I think the Texas receivers are going to do well. I, as we talked about national pundits, it's going to be who makes the mistake. It is, and who responds when the other team has a big play for 40 yards for a touchdown. What does the next team do, and vice versa? How does Texas respond when Washington does that, and and how does Washington respond when Texas does? I'm taking Texas 37-30.
37-30.
I said it a week ago when Inside Texas, they were asking for predictions. I said 37-30 Texas. I could see Washington win this game. I could see Texas winning this game by 2 scores. I think the difference maker is going to be JT Sanders, the tight end. I think Worthy is going to get his, just like I think Roma Dunze for Washington's going to get his. I think Washington's second receiver, McMillan and Polk, because they've got a bunch of them, are going to get theirs. I think the difference maker is going to be Sanders on their linebackers. They're going to have to bracket either Worthy or Mitchell. And I think Washington hasn't played other than Oregon, who they beat twice, duly noted, hasn't played an offense like this with the weapons. And I think JT Sanders is going to be the difference maker. And I think Texas is going to score more points than Washington, because I'm a national pundit, and that means you win. And so I am taking 37-30 Texas. And I think it's going to be a great game. Do we want to pick a national championship game, or do we want to have we can have a podcast before then.
Yeah. By the way, QB2 for Ohio State just went down. With ankle.
I say we quick pick it. Still, we can come back and go. All right, I'm sticking with my
pick beforehand. Well,
yeah,
your pick to win it might not be in the game. Well, so yeah.
So we can make fun of somebody the next podcast and say, you're wrong. Here we go. But and it just, we don't have to go into scores of that one. We can just go into, like, for me, I'm going to say.
Well, you say Texas. You had Texas, Bama, like I do. Dorton has Washington, Bama.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So I'll just say Texas would end up. That's my pick for now.
All right, Dorton. You can't pick.
Am I allowed to wait and watch and see how Washington does against Texas?
No. Neil's point's correct. Neil's point, like, let's make a quick pick.
Yeah, I think,
and then we can change it. We can change it next episode. We'll change it.
So I think right now I would favor Alabama over Washington. But
I would favor Alabama over Washington too.
Yeah,
but that's not my pick.
Let's see how they play.
And I'm going to pick the team that went in Alabama and beat them by 10. And I'm going to pick Texas over Alabama by 10.
All right.
And we can change it. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We need to move to the throwback player real quick. We were trying to get this thing done in an hour, so we're going to move that direction. So, with that being said, I am going to do a player because of the college football playoff that I've got pulled up right here. I'm going to do a player that is probably my dad's favorite player of all time. And y'all know him very well. It's obviously dated, but it is the one and only James Street, who was born in Longview, Texas in 1948, the same year that both my parents were born. But James Street was a 2-sport star at the University of Texas. and was quarterback who led the Longhorns to the 1969 national championship with a perfect 20-0 record as a starter.
Wow.
He was also a pitcher and a two-time All-American who threw the only perfect game in University of Texas history.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so obviously I was fortunate enough to see his son, Houston Street.
I was about to say, is that the same Street kid, the
Yep.
pitcher? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
His son in 2002 as a freshman close out the national championship game against South Carolina.
I remember that.
I went there with the Safario clan, as we all know from Victoria. And I believe he saved every game in the College World Series. But it's not about Houston, that's his son. But James Street was a 1969 Cotton Bowl Offensive Outstanding Player, 1969 Texas Longhorn MVP, All Conference 1968 in baseball, 1969 All Conference in baseball, 1969 All Conference football, 1970 All Conference in baseball, 1982 inductee to the Longhorn Baseball Hall of Honor, 1999 inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame, 2000 inducted to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. We can go on and on. The guy's a legend. Number 16, had twins that also played at the University of Texas in baseball. Passed away.
Really?
Yes. I actually passed away 7 or 8 years ago. Had don't quote me on this because I don't want to do the research on it because we got to get to our sponsor on it. I believe had somewhat of a heart attack while driving, and passed away on the side of the road. Yeah,
oh man, that's
terrible. Yep. Met him many times at baseball games. Was one of the greats. Again, started 20 games at Texas and never lost. Old Royce, who we documented a couple podcasts ago, had his birthday. My dad was at UT for 2.5 years. The football team never lost. They went 30. They won 30 straight games. So to say he's spoiled says it all.
Yeah. That explains a lot, actually.
It does explain a lot. So tied with most no-hitters in Southwest Conference history with Bobby Lane, Bert Hooton, and Greg Swindell, former Astro.
Yeah.
Obviously has the most perfect games ever with one. Opponent's batting average career, .198. And complete games in his career. You want to take a guess? He's the all-time leader in UT history in complete games. Again, this is a guy who won national championship as the quarterback of the Wishbone in 1969. Anyone want to guess what his complete games are as the UT baseball player?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna guess most of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say 20. Also 20-0 to match his
21 complete games. So Neil, you almost nailed it.
Wow.
Yeah. So legend, Longhorn legend, won national title in football, threw a perfect game on baseball. God willing, he's up above, looking down on the burnt orange, seeing what they're going to do in 3 days. But that throwback player was sponsored by Victoria Equipment Auction that I should have done beforehand. But give those guys a call, Kenny and Kevin Griffin, at 361-935-2444. That is VictoriaEquipmentAuction.com. They will reach out to them. They will take care of you with any equipment that you have, from tractor, trailer, ATV, RV, whatever it is. Those guys will take care of you, and we thank them for their sponsorship. And boys, anything else you want to touch on before we go?
No, got to get turning into a close one in Dallas for the Cotton Bowl. So we'll see how this goes out.
What's the score?
3-0 Ohio State.
All right.
Into the first. So let's see how this goes. By the way, on our pick'em, which I'm done. By the way, I don't know if you've looked.
Which
it doesn't
pick'em?
matter.
Don't bummers
It
pick them or any pick'em.
Does not matter. Pick one. How about that? Pick one. Does not matter. I'm done. And but I did go large on Ohio State here. So those Tigers are looking pretty good right now.
Oh man.
For all those who picked the Tigers.
Neil, any parting shots?
All good. It's going to be a fun couple days of some of the, at least for the Texas people, and some real fun times to get back into the college football scene at the highest level.
Dorton, you can officially wash the Jimbo Fisher era away.
Good
and
riddance.
Now you can move forward. I didn't want to bring up the fact that Oklahoma State beat them.
The future is bright.
Well, I don't know what it is, but at least you can say that era is over and you can start fresh and see where it goes.
I'm fine with a Oklahoma State team beating an all freshman second team squad by 7. I'm fine with that.
It was 8, and it wasn't all freshmen. And you don't want me to break this. You don't want me to break this down for you because you won't like it. So let's leave it as it is.
There was a lot of them. All right.
Why?
Future is bright.
Official statement brought to you by Brian Dorton.
Yeah. And hey, if you need someone to sell anything for you, just call E-Rob. So, boys, with that being said, and those that listen to the podcast will know what I mean by that. At A&M, they have coaches they recruit for other schools. So, boys, go Stros.
Go Stros.
Go Stros.